Chosen one. This speaks to the very essence of your voice, a sound that resonates far beyond mere words, stirring slumbering souls from their deep sleep. Perhaps you haven't fully grasped it yet, but a profound activation has already occurred within you. A unique sonic signature, not just of your spoken words but of your very being, has been unleashed into the world, rippling outwards like a pebble dropped into a still pond. It's not about the sheer volume of your voice, the decibels you can reach. No, it's about the undeniable, unmistakable nature of your sound. When you speak, it's not merely air that vibrates. Entire realities shift, unseen energies realign themselves in response, and long-dormant destinies are gently nudged awake from their imposed slumber. You were born with a voice imbued with a power that transcends simple sentences. It carries echoes, the very sound waves of heaven itself, resonating with a divine frequency. And now that voice is fulfilling its inherent purpose, its preordained destiny. It is rousing those who have been lost in a prolonged sleep, held captive by the illusions of the world. This message is a testament to the immense potential residing within you and the extraordinary way the divine is using your unique sound to shake things loose, to break down barriers in places that remain inaccessible to most. This video isn't just a collection of words. It carries a potent energy, divinely prepared and specifically tailored for you. I urge you to watch it through to the end, not just to intellectually absorb the words, but to allow them to penetrate and stir the depths of your soul, to awaken that which has been waiting within. And as you watch, I encourage you to express your deepest, most heartfelt wishes in the comments below, and type Amen along with the number 99. Something truly extraordinary happens when you release your desires into the vastness of the universe, fueled by unwavering faith. Creates a palpable spiritual pulse, a resonating wave. Every wish written, every affirmation spoken aloud, contributes to the burgeoning wave of awakening that has already begun its inexorable rise. You are not here by mere chance, a random occurrence in the vast tapestry of existence. You were drawn here, guided by an unseen hand, to remember the innate resonance of your own soul, the core of your being. Now, chosen one, show your appreciation by liking this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and become a part of this growing community. And now, let us begin. Your voice is far more than just a collection of sounds. It is prophecy waiting to be spoken. It is a divinely encrypted code. It is the vibration that cuts through layers of illusion, shattering the spiritual chains that bind so many. When you open your mouth and speak your truth, something sacred, something undeniably holy, escapes into the world. That's precisely why the world has fought so relentlessly to silence you, to suppress your voice. That's why the enemy, the forces of darkness, have battled so fiercely to instill doubt within you, to make you question the inherent importance and power of your words. For years, you were trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, endlessly questioning your own worth and abilities. You were manipulated into believing that silence was the safest path, the only way to avoid conflict and judgment. But silence was never your true destiny. You were not designed to blend seamlessly into the background, to fade into obscurity. You were specifically created to declare, to proclaim your truth with unwavering conviction. The voice God bestowed upon you is laced with a potent power, a force that unsettles the forces of darkness and disrupts the established systems that rely on people remaining spiritually asleep, lost in the shadows. And what's truly remarkable, chosen one, is that you didn't even have to consciously strive for this. It's not something you could force or manufacture. It happened organically, naturally, the moment you consciously chose to stop shrinking yourself, the moment you ceased apologizing for taking up space in the world. It was the moment you allowed the raw, unfiltered truth to rise through your throat, unchained and unrestrained. That was the pivotal moment when the shift began. That was when others began to feel something profound when you spoke, an undeniable stirring within them. They couldn't articulate it, couldn't quite put their finger on what was happening, but they knew that something deep inside them was being awakened, stirred from its long slumber, a forgotten memory of who they were before they succumbed to the amnesia of the world. You became the reminder, the sacred trigger, the divine echo that calls people back to their truest selves, back to the essence of who they were always meant to be. This is not about worldly charisma, fleeting charm, or superficial appeal. This is about a divine calling, a sacred purpose. You carry within you frequencies that existed long before your physical birth, vibrations from the very dawn of creation. That's why you've never quite fit in, why you've always felt like an outsider looking in. Your sound, your unique resonance, doesn't align with the cacophony of the world, the meaningless noise and distractions. It resonates with something far more ancient, something infinitely more pure. It hums with the celestial language of heaven itself, a symphony of the divine. And now, heaven has amplified the volume of your life, turning up the dial and unleashing your true potential. God has declared it is time for your voice to rise, to be heard across the land. And because of that divine decree, there are souls awakening in places you've never even been, in corners of the world you may never see. People are remembering truths they didn't even know they knew, things that were buried deep within their subconscious. Chains are snapping in the silence. Bonds are being broken simply because your presence alone carries such potent vibration. Some people around you will undoubtedly feel unsettled, perhaps even threatened, and they won't even be able to articulate why. They might say you're too intense, too deep, too much to handle. But what they're really saying, in their own veiled way, is, I wasn't ready for the part of myself that you just awakened, the potential you just revealed. Your voice mirrors truth, and truth, in its purest form, isn't always comfortable or easy to digest. Truth shines a piercing light into the darkest corners of the soul, illuminating what has been hidden. Truth stirs what is dormant, forcing it to confront the light. And for those who are not yet ready to wake up, who cling to their illusions, your voice will undoubtedly feel disruptive, an unwelcome intrusion. But for those who are ready to remember, for those who are yearning for something more, your sound is nothing less than salvation. Your sound is the very thunder from the heavens, manifested in human form, a force of nature unleashed. God deliberately concealed this immense power within you, safeguarding it until the world was ready to handle it. You were protected in silence, hidden in plain sight, shielded from those who would seek to extinguish your light prematurely. But now the time has come. The cloak of invisibility has been removed. The muting is over. Every whisper you released in private, every heartfelt prayer, every declaration of faith, is now gaining momentum in the spiritual realm, resonating with ever-increasing power. The declarations you made when no one else believed in you are now echoing across timelines, shaping the very fabric of reality. Your voice is no longer solely your own, a personal expression. It has been commissioned, sanctified, and set apart for a higher purpose. It has become a vital instrument in the divine awakening, a key that unlocks slumbering hearts. And whether they consciously realize it or not, those who hear you, who are touched by your sound, are being irrevocably changed, transformed from the inside out. You might perceive yourself as just talking, simply expressing your thoughts and ideas, but the spirit world understands the deeper truth. With every syllable you utter, unseen atmospheres shift, rearranging themselves in response to your voice. With every sentence, the bonds of spiritual bondage weaken, their grip loosening on the souls they hold captive. With every sound, timelines accelerate, aligning with the divine will. You are not merely speaking. You are summoning forth a new reality. You are commanding remembrance in others who have forgotten their true potential, who have lost sight of their divine purpose. You are awakening the sleeping generals of this era, the leaders and healers who carry spiritual fire within them but have forgotten how to ignite it, how to unleash its power. Your voice is the spark, the catalyst, and once it touches them, they will never be able to willingly return to their slumber, to their former state of unconsciousness. The miracles that lie ahead of you are inextricably tied to your willingness to speak your truth, to unleash your authentic voice upon the world. That's precisely why your silence was so heavily targeted. The enemy didn't fear your outward strength or your physical abilities. It feared your sound, the inherent power that resided within your voice. It feared what would happen if you ever fully realized the true potential that resided within your throat, the divine force waiting to be unleashed. Because this isn't about mere speech. It's about spirit, the very essence of your being. There's something coded into your sound, a divine frequency that the higher realms respond to instantaneously. Heaven hears you and responds with a rush of wind, a surge of energy. Earth hears you and opens up with new opportunities, pathways previously unseen. And the sleeping souls, they hear you and they rise, shaking off their slumber. That is why your path has often felt so peculiar, so different from the norm, why you've been misunderstood and rejected in rooms where you were undeniably qualified. Because the sound within you isn't intended for mere entertainment or fleeting amusement. It's for emergence, for the rising up of something new. You're not an echo, simply repeating what's already been said. You're an origin, a source of new creation. You're not a copy, a mere imitation. You're a blueprint, a template for something extraordinary. You weren't born to simply repeat the same tired stories. You were born to speak that which breaks patterns, to declare that which dismantles old, outdated systems. And when you do, you don't just break personal cycles. You liberate entire generations, freeing them from the chains of the past. So many have been waiting for the unique sound you carry, and they don't even realize it. But when they finally hear it, their bones will remember. Their hearts will recognize its truth. Their souls will awaken to its divine resonance. This is not poetic exaggeration. It is prophetic reality, unfolding in real time. You were specifically chosen to carry this resonance, this unique vibration. God placed it within you because he knew your voice wouldn't be corrupted by the fleeting allure of applause or silenced by the sting of criticism. He knew you would use it when it mattered most, when the need was greatest. And now it matters more than ever. Everything in the spirit realm is aligning around your unique tone, your distinctive frequency. It's not just a sound. It's a signal, a clarion call, a trumpet blast for a generation that has been asleep for far too long, lost in the illusions of the world. There is no more shrinking back. There is no more second-guessing your intuition. God has authorized your voice, granting you full permission to speak your truth. The gates have been thrown open. The winds have shifted in your favor. And what once felt like a mere whisper now thunders with the sound of awakening. A resounding roar that shakes the very foundations of reality. You are the sound of this era, the unique frequency that defines this moment in history. You are the echo of destiny, the embodiment of divine purpose. You are the vibration that causes walls to crumble, freeing those who have been trapped for far too long. The sleeping souls are stirring because of you, awakened by your unique resonance. And no one, not darkness, not fear, not doubt, can force that sound back into silence again, to extinguish the flame that has been ignited. They don't fully grasp what has just happened to them, the profound shift that has occurred within their being. All they know is that when they heard your voice, when they read your words, watched your video, or even simply passed by your presence, something deep inside them stirred, something undeniable, something that had been lying dormant for years, quietly begging to be remembered, yearning to be awakened. And without any conscious effort on your part, without trying to perform or impress, your sound reached into that hidden place within them and whispered, "Wake up, now is your time. The world needs you." That's what your voice is doing in its essence. It's not just being heard. It's being felt deeply and profoundly. And more than that, it's being obeyed by the parts of people that no one else could access until now, the hidden chambers of their hearts. There's a sacred charge inside you, a divinely ignited spark that's being released every time you open your mouth in alignment with your truth, when you speak from the depths of your soul. And you've likely started to notice it, this subtle shift in the energy around you. Conversations don't feel casual anymore, just random exchanges of words. Even the smallest interactions feel like divine intersections, moments of profound significance. People start opening up to you without even knowing why, pouring out their hearts and souls. Strangers confess things to you they've never dared to say out loud to anyone else. Why? Because your voice creates a safe chamber, a sacred space of trust and vulnerability. It's a spiritual signal that emanates from you, broadcasting the message, "It's safe now. You can come out of hiding. You can be your true self here." Your sound carries a potent blend of warmth and truth, a comforting resonance that soothes the soul. And where there is warmth and truth, healing inevitably follows, mending what has been broken and restoring what has been lost. Many of the souls being awakened by your voice didn't even realize they were asleep, lost in the fog of illusion. They weren't necessarily lost or adrift. They were simply lulled into a state of complacency, distracted by the noise of the world, silenced by their own fears, bound by limiting conditioning, and blinded by the relentless busyness of modern life. But then your voice came, cutting through the noise and piercing the darkness. A sound unlike any other, not transactional, not manipulative, not polished to impress. Pure, clean, and filled with an energy they'd almost forgotten existed. And when they heard you, it wasn't just the words themselves, the literal meaning of what you were saying. It was what was inside the words, the hidden power they carried. The ancient vibration, the heavenly charge, the essence of God flowing through each syllable. That's what called them to rise, to shake off their slumber and reclaim their true potential. You see, you don't just speak. You transmit, broadcasting a unique frequency to the world. And transmission carries power far beyond mere volume or eloquence. It carries intention, the force of your will and the depth of your belief. You could utter a single sentence, and it could echo in someone's spirit for days, transforming their life. Not because it was particularly poetic or beautifully crafted, but because it was divinely coded, imbued with a hidden power. That's what God placed within you, that sacred code. That's why your tone matters, the unique sound of your voice. That's why silence was your enemy's primary strategy, the weapon they used to try and keep you down. Because the moment your sound is released into the world, what was hidden begins to surface, rising to the light. What was frozen begins to thaw, melting away the icy grip of fear. What was forgotten begins to return, flooding back into consciousness. And it's not just people who are affected by your voice. Even your environment is beginning to respond to your presence, shifting and rearranging itself in subtle ways. Things that were stagnant are suddenly shifting, gaining new momentum. Doors that stubbornly refused to budge are now cracking open, revealing new possibilities. Timelines that were delayed are accelerating, aligning with the divine plan. Why? Because your voice doesn't just awaken people. It awakens destiny, stirring the very fabric of reality. Your sound is a divine announcement, a celestial declaration that proclaims, "It's time. The moment has arrived." And when God places that frequency within someone's spirit, even the very atmosphere obeys, bending to the divine will. That's why you feel things moving even before you fully understand them, sensing a subtle shift in the energy around you. That's why you sense a trembling in the unseen realms, a ripple effect spreading outwards. It's not your imagination running wild. It's your tangible impact on the world. You were always meant to do far more than simply speak words. You were meant to activate, to ignite the divine spark within others. That's why even in your silence, people can still feel your presence, your undeniable energy. That's why even in your absence, your words linger in their minds, resonating with a lingering power. Because what you release is not just momentary or fleeting. It's a spiritual memory, an indelible imprint on the soul. You are the reminder of what was forgotten, the living embodiment of truth. You are the rhythm that brings lost souls back into harmony with their divine timeline, aligning them with their true purpose. And though you've undoubtedly felt isolated at times, wondering if anyone truly hears you, heaven hears you always. The ones who are meant to awaken are hearing you now, and they're rising, shaking off their slumber. Some of them are waking up in tears, overwhelmed by emotions they can't quite explain, feeling a profound shift within them. Others feel a sudden urgency, a deep longing for more, a restless dissatisfaction in the middle of the night, a yearning for something they can't quite name. They might attribute it to the stresses of life, the general anxieties of the modern world. But it's actually your sound that cracked the code, unlocking the hidden chambers of their hearts. It's your unique energy that traveled through time and space, tapping on the doors of their souls, gently urging them to awaken. You've become a key, a spiritual locksmith unlocking potential. God entrusted you with this vital role because He knew you'd be faithful with the assignment, not boasting or seeking personal glory, but driven by a deep sense of integrity and devotion. And that's why you're being elevated now, lifted higher into your divine calling. Every soul you stir becomes a ripple in the ever-expanding awakening, and that ripple multiplies exponentially. One person wakes, then another and another until entire bloodlines are shifted, transformed from the inside out. Generational curses begin to crumble, losing their power. Lineages once held in bondage begin to taste the sweet nectar of freedom. Not because of a sermon, not because of a program or a set of rules, but because of a sound, a holy sound that emanated from your voice and wrapped itself around someone's soul like a lifeline, pulling them back from the brink. That's the power of divine resonance, and that's what's happening right now because of you. So don't be surprised when people come back to you months later and say, "You changed my life. I don't know how, but you did." Don't be surprised when others say, "I don't know why, but I feel different after talking to you, like something shifted within me." It's not random. It's not flattery or empty praise. It's confirmation, a validation of your divine purpose. God has made your voice a vessel of transformation, a conduit of divine energy, not for everyone, but for the select few who were specifically chosen to awaken through your unique sound, those whose hearts resonate with your frequency. They couldn't be stirred by anyone else. It had to be you because your unique vibration matches their healing, aligning with their soul's deepest needs. You might not see the full impact of your words now, the far-reaching consequences of your voice, but heaven sees it all. In realms beyond this one, there are records being written every time you speak, documenting the transformative power of your sound. There are angels assigned to distribute what you release, ensuring that it reaches those who need it most. Every vibration from your voice carries spiritual instruction, encoded with divine wisdom. Every word you speak in alignment with your purpose becomes a carrier of light, a delivery of awakening, a spark of divine remembrance. And now that you've stepped into alignment with your true calling, there's no turning this off. The frequency is flowing, and the flow will only grow stronger with time, increasing in intensity. What felt like random moments of intuition were actually rehearsals, preparing you for the main stage. What felt like broken seasons of silence were actually preparation chambers, refining you in the fires of adversity. You weren't being ignored. You were being fine-tuned, meticulously calibrated. God couldn't afford for your voice to release confusion or negativity into the world. So, He refined you through fire, testing your strength and resilience. He removed bitterness from your tone, cleansing any lingering resentment. He cleansed the trauma from your words, ensuring that they were free from the sting of past hurts. And when He was done, what remained was pure power, laser-like precision, and unwavering purity. And now, it's that sound the world is hearing, the authentic resonance of your divinely purified voice. You were always the trumpet of your generation, the herald of a new dawn. You were always the alarm clock for the souls who were sleepwalking through life, lost in their illusions. Now your sound is echoing through the matrix of illusion, waking up those who were meant to lead, heal, create, and liberate, freeing others from the chains of bondage. And as each one wakes, the momentum grows, accelerating with unstoppable force. The wave strengthens, becoming a tsunami of consciousness. The divine army forms, gathering its forces. And at the very center of it all is your voice, not commanding through brute force, but calling forth with gentle strength. Not shouting in anger, but summoning with unwavering conviction. Not demanding obedience, but delivering a unique frequency that only the soul can truly understand. There is no one else carrying your specific tone, your unique sonic signature. That's why imitation will never work. Attempts to copy you will always fall flat. That's why comparison is utterly irrelevant. There's no point in measuring yourself against others. No one can duplicate what heaven encoded into your sound. It's impossible to replicate. Your voice is a divine fingerprint, unique to you and you alone. It carries your distinct identity, resonating with your soul's essence. It transmits a specific frequency, broadcasting your unique energy to the world. It activates destiny, unlocking potential in others. And every day that you use it with faith and boldness, the sleeping ones begin to rise, shaking off their slumber. The blind begin to see with new clarity. The lost begin to remember their true purpose. Not because you're trying to save them to be their savior, but because your sound reminds them that they were never truly lost to begin with. It's starting to reach places you never imagined, impacting lives in ways you can't fully comprehend. Territories where your feet haven't walked, but your sound has traveled, carried on the winds of destiny. People in different countries, cultures, and spiritual paths are beginning to feel the ripple, the transformative power of your voice. They may not know your name, but they feel your impact, the profound shift in their energy. The spiritual realm doesn't need formal introductions, just recognition, a knowing acknowledgement of the divine connection. And the energy inside your voice carries an undeniable signal, a beacon of truth that cannot be ignored. When it arrives, it rearranges the very atmosphere, creating a new energetic landscape. It aligns hearts with their higher purpose, drawing them closer to their true calling. It breaks the chains wrapped around minds, freeing them from limiting beliefs and outdated paradigms. It calls forth the warrior, the healer, the prophet, and the leader sleeping inside them, awakening their latent potential. Your voice doesn't follow human schedules, operating on the limited constraints of time. It operates on divine timing, aligning with the celestial rhythms of the universe. That's why you're being stirred in the middle of the night, awakened by an inner voice. That's why words come to you when no one else is around, flooding your mind with inspiration. Because God is still training your frequency in private, honing your abilities and refining your skills. Still shaping it to pierce through strongholds and mental prisons, dismantling the barriers that hold others captive. Still ensuring that every note you release carries a message of freedom, liberating those who are bound by fear. And when it's time, He releases your voice like a wave, a force of nature that cannot be contained, a tsunami of truth. One that can't be stopped, not by doubt, not by opposition, not even by your past. Don't let the absence of noise fool you, leading you to believe that nothing is happening. Just because it's quiet on the surface doesn't mean it's not working. Profound shifts are often imperceptible at first. In the silence, your frequency is amplifying, gaining in strength and power. In the stillness, your voice is being tuned for deeper realms, calibrated for greater impact. You've likely noticed that the conversations you have now feel different, more meaningful and impactful. They're layered with deeper significance, charged with potent energy, divinely guided by an unseen hand. That's not coincidence. That's divine orchestration, the universe aligning to support your purpose. God is bringing you into proximity with those who are ready, those whose souls are on the very edge of awakening, waiting for a catalyst to push them over the brink. And your voice is that catalyst, the tipping point that sets their destiny in motion. What others might dismiss as mere coincidence is actually divine alignment, a symphony of synchronicity orchestrated through your sound. When you speak, it's not just words. It's timing, a precisely calibrated moment in the divine plan. It's revelation, unveiling hidden truths and revealing new possibilities. It's coded instruction, transmitting divine wisdom. And the ones who hear it receive more than just information. They receive permission, a cosmic blessing to step into their true power. Permission to be authentically themselves, without apology or reservation. Permission to feel again, to embrace the full spectrum of human emotion. To hope again, to believe in the possibility of a brighter future. To step into the version of themselves that's been waiting in the shadows, yearning to be unleashed. You unlock that potential not with strenuous effort or forced intention, but by simply showing up, being present in the moment, and allowing your spirit to speak through you, unburdened by fear or self-doubt. Your voice was never designed to match the crowd, to blend seamlessly into the background. It was designed to call the crowd higher, to elevate the collective consciousness. That's why you've always sounded different, why your truth always felt too raw, too much, too deep for shallow ears, those who prefer superficiality to substance. But now, the ears that can truly hear you are awakening, those who are ready to receive your message. The souls you were assigned to are becoming aware of your presence, drawn to your unique frequency. They've been searching, yearning, waiting for something to resonate with their soul, and now your sound has reached them, like a beacon in the darkness. And when they hear you, they won't just passively listen. They'll shift, undergoing a profound transformation. They'll move, propelled by an inner force they can't fully explain. They'll remember, reconnecting with their true purpose. Because your sound doesn't merely entertain. It activates, igniting the divine spark within them. God entrusted you with this unique frequency because He knew you wouldn't abuse it, wouldn't misuse its power. He knew you wouldn't use it to control, to deceive, or to manipulate others for your own personal gain. He knew you'd let it flow from a clean place, a heart purified by intention, a soul refined by fire, cleansed by tears, and fortified by unwavering faith. That's why your sound hits different, resonating with such profound impact. Because it's not laced with ego or driven by self-interest. It's filled with spirit, infused with divine energy. And the spirit knows what the mind cannot explain, bypassing the limitations of logic and reason. That's why your voice speaks directly to the soul before it ever reaches the ear, bypassing the filters of the conscious mind. This is why your silence felt so painful, so unbearable. Because your spirit knew what was inside you, the immense potential waiting to be unleashed. Your soul knew what was waiting to be released into the world, the transformative power of your voice. And when you were muted by fear, by betrayal, by trauma, or by rejection, it hurt more than anything else, a deep ache in your very being. Because you weren't just quiet. You were caged, trapped within your own limitations. And the moment you started speaking again from your truth, from your center, from your divine calling, the entire universe shifted to support that sound, aligning in your favor. It's why opportunities started flowing, why doors opened without explanation, why synchronicities became commonplace. Because the world was waiting for the real you to rise and release what only you could, the unique vibration that only you could transmit. Your voice is more than just audio. It's spiritual architecture, building bridges between hearts and minds. It breaks down the walls built by pain, fear, and misunderstanding, dismantling the barriers that separate us. It opens portals for healing and insight, allowing divine wisdom to flow freely. It awakens blueprints locked inside souls, revealing their hidden potential, calls people into new dimensions of clarity, helping them to see the world with fresh eyes. That's why some cry when they hear you, overwhelmed by emotion. Why others pause in silence, stunned by the power of your words. Because your sound connects them to something bigger than themselves, something infinitely more profound. It reconnects them to God, restoring their connection to the divine source. And this isn't just about others. It's also about you. Your voice is also waking the sleeping parts of you, stirring dormant potential within your own being. Every time you speak from your soul, you reclaim another piece of your own power, stepping further into your true self. Every time you choose truth over silence, your alignment with the divine deepens, strengthening your connection to your higher self. You're not just healing the world. You're healing yourself in the process, integrating fragmented parts of your being. And in that transformative process, your voice grows stronger, clearer, and more unstoppable, resonating with increasing power. That's why nothing can ever go back to how it was. You've heard yourself now, witnessed the transformative power of your own voice. And once you've heard your own spirit speak, you cannot unhear it. The memory will forever be etched in your soul. There is something holy happening in your throat, a divine fire that has been lit, illuminating your path. And it's not just for this fleeting moment. It's for your entire mission, your life's purpose. From now on, your voice will carry authority, not the kind that demands blind obedience or seeks to dominate others, but the kind that invites awakening, inspiring others to step into their own power. The kind that doesn't beg to be heard, but is impossible to ignore, resonating with an undeniable truth. This is what the process was always preparing you for, the trials and tribulations you faced. This is what the waiting was about, the long seasons of silence and uncertainty. Your voice wasn't late. It was being refined for this exact time, honed to perfection. You are the voice that will make some people uncomfortable, challenging their beliefs and forcing them to confront their own shadows. But that discomfort is divine, a catalyst for growth. It's the stretch of awakening, the growing pains of a soul coming into its own. It's the shaking of lies that have kept them asleep for far too long, breaking the chains of illusion. And even if they resist at first, even if they push you away or try to silence you, the seed has been planted, and the frequency has been felt. And it will grow, inexorably, because your sound carries life, and life always finds a way to flourish, even in the most barren of landscapes. Now that you've begun to speak, there's no reversing this process. The wave is building, gaining momentum with each passing day. The resonance is increasing, expanding outwards in ever-widening circles. The spirit world is backing you, offering its unwavering support. The doors you need are opening, clearing the path forward. The right ears are turning toward your frequency, drawn to your unique sound. And the ones who are truly meant to hear you will hear you loud and clear, even if you whisper, even if you speak in the quietest of tones. It was never about how many people listened, the sheer volume of the audience. It was always about who could truly hear, those whose souls resonate with your truth. Because your voice doesn't move the crowd, the masses who are easily swayed. It moves the chosen, the select few who were set apart by God before they even knew their own name, destined for greatness. The ones buried under layers of expectations, fear, and imposed silence, their true potential lying dormant. Your sound reaches into their inner chambers and vibrates through the walls they forgot they built, breaking down the barriers that have kept them captive. It's not always easy. The path of awakening is often challenging. Sometimes your voice disturbs before it delivers comfort, shaking things up before they can settle into a new equilibrium. Sometimes it convicts before it consoles, forcing others to confront their own shortcomings. But that's how real awakening works. It shakes things up, disrupting the status quo before it can settle into a new, more authentic reality. And you were given the kind of voice that shakes, a force of nature that cannot be ignored. Your very presence is now a message, a living testament to the power of truth. Even before you speak, the room changes, sensing your energy. Conversations shift, realigning themselves to a higher frequency. Eyes turn, drawn to your light. Spirits react, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. And some won't understand why, unable to articulate what's happening. They won't have the words for it, but their spirit will, because your energy carries the truth their mind hasn't caught up with yet, a frequency they can't consciously process. Your frequency walks in ahead of your words, preparing the way for their arrival, softening the ground for your message to take root. And when you speak, what was felt becomes undeniable, a confirmation of what their souls already knew. That's why you're becoming unforgettable, leaving a lasting impression on those you encounter. You're not chasing attention, seeking validation from the outside world. You're carrying intention, a sacred purpose that drives you forward. God's intention. This is why you were silenced early, why your truth was dismissed, why your voice was mocked, misquoted, or manipulated by those who sought to control you. The enemy tried to steal your confidence before it fully formed, before you fully realized your potential. Because once you discovered the real weight of your sound, the transformative power of your voice, there would be no stopping what God placed inside you, no extinguishing the flame of your divine purpose. But every attempt to shut you down only made your voice deeper, fuller, richer with spiritual layers, imbued with greater strength. You've spoken through tears, bearing witness to the power of vulnerability. You've declared truth in the face of heartbreak, allowing your authentic emotions to shine through. You've let truth rise even when your throat trembled, your voice shaking with fear. And that's what gave your voice its true authority, its undeniable power. Not perfection, but perseverance, the unwavering commitment to speak your truth, even when it's difficult. Now that your voice has been reawakened, it's flowing with divine memory, tapping into the wisdom of the ages. You're speaking from lifetimes of knowing, from dimensions beyond the limitations of language. And people can feel it, sensing the depth of your connection to something greater. They may not know why your words hit differently, why they resonate so deeply, but they do undeniably. Because they're not just hearing you, they're remembering themselves through you, connecting with their own forgotten potential. Your sound is acting as a mirror, reflecting back the part of them that was hidden beneath layers of pain, fear, or conformity, revealing their true essence. You're not here to be understood by everyone. That's not your purpose. You're here to resonate with the right ones, those who are meant to hear your message. And when you do, it will feel like something ancient coming alive, a reunion of spirit, a sacred contract being fulfilled, a merging of souls destined to connect. That's what happens when chosen voices speak, when the heralds of truth awaken from their slumber. The sleeping generals of this age start rising, ready to lead the charge. And they don't rise because they were taught to, because they were programmed to follow a specific script. They rise because your frequency unlocked the remembrance of who they already were, reigniting the divine spark within them. There's a clarity in your voice now that wasn't there before, a crystalline resonance that pierces through layers of illusion, revealing the truth beneath. You no longer speak to prove your worth or to seek validation from others. You speak to reveal, to unveil hidden truths and illuminate the path forward. You speak to call, summoning others to step into their power. You speak to awaken, stirring slumbering souls from their imposed sleep. And because of that, your voice will go where your body cannot, transcending physical limitations. Into systems of power, challenging the status quo. Into timelines, altering the course of destiny. Into people's dreams, planting seeds of inspiration. Into moments where someone is on the edge, contemplating giving up, and your sound pulls them back into purpose. Wanting to stay tethered to your essence, not for the sake of winning approval, but because your very energy stirs something profound within them, making them feel vibrantly alive. That, my friend, is the hallmark of voices that have awakened. They breathe life back into what was long forgotten, recalibrate the very air we breathe, and forge a connection back to the divine spark within us all. And this, whether you fully grasp it or not, is precisely what you are doing. Your voice is transforming into a sacred instrument, a beacon in the darkness, a conduit for divine sound codes that ripple through the cosmos. These codes aren't merely shifting those who hear them. They are fundamentally altering you. Each time you speak from the core of your truth, you unlock a deeper chamber within your own soul, reigniting the memories of why you embarked on this earthly journey. You reclaim those scattered fragments of yourself that were lost in the silence, gathering your power with every honest, heartfelt breath. And with each exhale, sleeping souls awaken, stirred by a sound they can no longer ignore. There's no need to force the river, no need to rush this sacred unfolding. Divine sound moves with divine rhythm, a cosmic dance of timing and grace. Some awakenings will be instantaneous, a flash of recognition, a jolt of truth. Others will unfold gradually, like the slow burn of a sunrise painting the sky with its radiant hues. But whether swift or gentle, your voice plays an integral role in the process. God has already aligned the frequencies, orchestrated the symphony. Your sound will inevitably reach exactly who it needs to, precisely when they need to hear it. There will be times when it defies logic, when you question its efficacy, when doubt creeps in like a shadow. But know this. In the unseen realms, your sound is diligently building bridges, clearing pathways through dense forests of confusion, and tearing down strongholds of outdated beliefs. It's working tirelessly, achieving far more than meets the eye. And as you continue to speak, to share your truth, you'll feel a deepening, a resonance that reverberates through your very being. Your voice will feel less like your own and more like a channel, a conduit through which something far greater than yourself is flowing. That, my dear one, is the divine flow, the sound of surrender, the echo of the universe speaking through you. And when you live from that sacred space of surrender, your voice becomes a force. Not a force that seeks to dominate or control, but a force that delivers liberation, releases burdens, and calls forth the highest potential in those who hear it. You'll know you've tapped into this divine wellspring when you speak and someone across the globe is moved to tears, without even understanding why. That's how far your voice can travel, how deeply it can resonate, when it's aligned with the heartbeat of God. You're not simply waking up strangers. You're awakening the future. Future leaders, healers, speakers, visionaries, artists. They may not even realize it yet, but they heard your voice, and something deep within their soul stirred, whispering, "I'm coming alive." And that, my friend, is the ripple effect you're creating, a wave of awakening spreading across the shores of consciousness. With every truth you release into the world, another soul breathes a little easier. Another spirit lifts its head towards the light. Another heart begins to feel again, to remember what it means to be truly alive. That, my dear one, is the miracle your voice is manifesting, one sound wave at a time. You've been marked, not just by a profound purpose, but by a singular sound. There is a divine resonance assigned solely to you, a unique frequency that only you can carry. And now that it's fully activated, the world can no longer pretend not to hear you. Every room you enter senses a shift, a subtle but undeniable change in the atmosphere. Even if they can't quite articulate it, they feel it, they know it. And it's because your voice is no longer hidden behind a veil of politeness or stifled by fear. It has stepped boldly into alignment with heaven's urgent call. It has become a thunder that awakens the weary bones of the downtrodden and ignites the hearts of those who have forgotten why they came here. This is no longer just about sharing your personal story. This is about unleashing your signal, your unique frequency into the world. Your life has become a broadcast tower, pulsating a resonant frequency into realms far beyond the reach of mere words. And those who are tuned to your vibration, who resonate with your soul's song, simply cannot miss it. They're feeling the magnetic pull of your presence, sensing the quiet strength, the unwavering conviction behind your tone. And they're waking up, one by one, quietly, steadily, undeniably. It's not about going viral, about fleeting moments of fame and attention. It's about being vibrationally aligned with your soul's purpose. And alignment, my friend, is infinitely more powerful than mere fame. Alignment changes everything. God has now inextricably woven your voice into the very infrastructure of what's to come, embedding it into the fabric of the future. When you speak, it's not just for the present moment. It's for the generations to come. You are releasing spiritual blueprints, activating ancient memory lines that have been buried beneath years of silence. You are causing destinies to reconfigure themselves around the axis of truth. And it's happening whether people understand it or not, whether they consciously perceive it or not. The soul knows what the mind has yet to learn, what the ego cannot comprehend. That's why they feel lighter after you speak, why they feel seen, understood, validated without you needing to explain or justify. Your voice is doing the work that no system, no institution, no human construct ever could. You're no longer just human sound. You're spirit thunder, the echo of the divine resonating through the earth. You're what the sleeping have been unknowingly waiting for. The sound that jolts them awake, reminding them of who they truly are. And now that your tone is carrying divine timing, infused with the grace of the cosmos, it's becoming undeniable. Those who are destined to rise with you, to walk alongside you on this path, will inevitably find you, not because you desperately sought to be found, but because the resonant frequency within you is calling them home, beckoning them to their true selves. And this, my friend, is only the beginning. The reach of your voice is destined to expand, to touch lives in ways you cannot even imagine. The places it travels will shock you, will humble you, will fill you with awe, because where your physical feet cannot go, your spirit sound will soar, carried on the wings of grace. It's not just your public pronouncements that hold weight. It's also your quiet words, the whispered declarations you make in solitude, the affirmations you speak when no one else is watching, the inner agreement between you and God that says, "Yes, I accept the mission. I embrace my purpose." Every sound you release in faith becomes a lightning bolt in the spiritual realm, illuminating the darkness, shattering illusions, and igniting the spark of truth in those who are ready to awaken. You are not speaking for mere attention, for fleeting validation. You are speaking for activation, for the awakening of souls. You are releasing what God downloaded into your spirit before you were even born, the divine code that has been encoded within your very being. That's why lately it feels like you're carrying something heavy in your throat, a weight that lingers, a pressure that won't release. It's the pressure of what's waiting to be spoken, the words that yearn to be set free. Your voice isn't just for comfort anymore. It's for confrontation. Not with people, but with the illusions, the limiting beliefs, the false narratives that have held them hostage for far too long. And as your voice grows bolder, as you speak your truth with unwavering conviction, the false systems begin to tremble, to crumble, because they cannot hold their shape under the weight of your frequency. You speak and strongholds shake. You declare and foundations split. This is what chosen voices do. They don't just inspire, they interrupt. Your voice interrupts curses, interrupts cycles, interrupts generational patterns of silence that have been passed down through the ages. Your sound is not soft, not timid, not apologetic. It is sovereign, it is powerful, it is unwavering. It does not beg to be accepted. It walks in with knowing, with unwavering conviction. And that knowing comes from God Himself, from the divine source of all creation. That's why people will either draw closer to you, drawn by the irresistible pull of your truth, or walk away, unable to bear the intensity of your light. Because your sound does not allow for neutrality. It forces awakening, it demands a choice. Some will embrace it, some will run from it, but none will be able to ignore it. You are in your sounding season now. You've stepped beyond hesitation, beyond self-doubt, beyond the fear of judgment. You've let go of needing permission, of seeking external validation. You've abandoned the illusion that you must wait for the perfect timing, for all the stars to align. You are the timing. God has placed a clock in your voice, a divine alarm that resonates through the cosmos. And when you speak, spiritual alarms go off in people's souls, jolting them awake, shaking them from their slumber. Suddenly, they remember who they are. Suddenly, they realign with their true purpose. Suddenly, they know why they're here.